Hello everyone, Miss Curdy here again. Today we are going to be going over topic 4-1, where we're going to be relating division and multiplication. In this unit, we're going to review more of that new vocabulary, so please make sure you're studying your cards. We know our multiplication vocabulary of factors and product. In division, we actually have 3 words for the pieces to an addition equation, so make sure that you are familiar with those vocabulary so when we're using them in class, you understand them. All right, so what we're going to do today is do fact families for multiplication and division. In our last video, we were talking about fact families for addition and subtraction, so this is going to be very similar to that. So let's take a look at our first fact family. We have the numbers 3, 4, and 12. So I'm going to start with the multiplication equations for that. So I know that my 2 smaller numbers are going to be my factors, and they're going to equal that larger number, that product of 12. And then to make my next equation, I know I can switch those factors around, and the product will remain the same. Now, when I'm doing my division equations, I want to make sure I'm looking for my larger number because I know that's going to be my dividend. That's going to be my starting point. So now I'm going to have 12 divided by, and then I'm going to choose one of those factors, which is now going to be called a divisor in the division equation, and that will equal the quotient of 3. And then again, I'm going to start with that 12 divided by 3 this time equals 4. We want to make sure that in the division equation, it's always our larger number divided by the smaller number. It can also be written like this, where it's 3 equals 12 divided by 4, or 4 equals 12 divided by 3, as long as we have that larger number divided by the smaller number. It's okay if it's on this side of the equation. So here are our 4 equations for that fact family. Let's try another one. 3, 7, and 21. I know my 2 smaller numbers multiplied together will give me that larger product, and I can switch the factors around. And again, now I'm going to start with that larger number. 21 divided by 3 equals 7, and 21 divided by 7 equals 3. Take a moment now to pause the video and try to complete these 2 fact families on your own, and then come back to check. Okay, let's take a look. I see my 2 smaller factors. 4 times 6 equals 24, and 6 times 4 equals 24. And now I'm going to make my 2 equations. I'm going to set them up like I did over here, where I'm going to do 4 equals 24 divided by 6, and 6 equals 24 divided by 4. The other way you could do it would be 24 divided by 6 equals 4, which is the same as that equation, and 24 divided by 4 equals 6. So either combination, these 4 or these 4, would be perfectly correct. You can also switch this around to say 24 equals 4 times 6. It doesn't matter which side the equal sign is on, as long as when we're doing our division, it's always that larger number divided by the smaller number. All right, let's take a look at this one. We can do 24 equals 3 times 8, or 3 times 8 equals 24, and 24 equals 8 times 3. Either way you write it would be fine. And then down here I can say 3 equals 24 divided by 8, or 8 equals 24 divided by 3, or we could write it 24 divided by 8 equals 3, and 24 divided by 3 equals 8. Any combination of these would give us our 4 equations for our fact family, so as long as we have 2 multiplication and 2 division equations. All right, so you may be wondering, why do I need to know about fact families? When is that going to help me? Well, what's great about multiplication and division is that since they are opposite operations or inverse operations, we can actually use our multiplication facts to help us solve division. Back in topic 1, we learned about division, where we would draw pictures to solve it, or we do repeated subtraction. So if you'd remember, 72 divided by 8, one way to solve it is to draw 8 boxes and then put 72 in, deal out 72, which is very time consuming. Another way we learned was repeated subtraction, where we would do 72 minus 8, and then subtract 8 again and again until we came to 0, until we had nothing left. But another way to do this is use our multiplication facts. So I can think about this as a fact family. 72 divided by 8 equals some number. So I can think of it as 8 times some number is going to give me 72. And if we have our facts memorized, we would know that this number would be a 9. And therefore 72 divided by 8 would also equal 9 because these are part of a fact family. A common mistake that I want you guys to be aware of is that sometimes kids will make the fact family 8 divided by 72. 8 divided by 72 would mean something like this. For example, it might mean we have 8 cookies and we're sharing those 8 cookies with 72 people. That wouldn't work out. We'd have to break up those cookies into tiny, tiny pieces. So the correct way to do this would be 72 cookies divided by 8 people. So here would not be a correct equation. So again, fact families are really important because they will help us solve division equations. Let's look at another division equation. 36 divided by something equals 6. So I know that in a multiplication equation, this dividend would end up being my product, and that this would be one of my factors, and I would just be missing the other factor. And if I have my facts memorized, I would know that 6 times 6 equals 36. If I don't have this particular fact memorized, I have a fallback plan, and I can actually use skip counting, and I would skip count by 6 until I got to 36. So let's try it that way too. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. And now I have to find my answer hidden in there. And my answer would be hidden in there by looking at how many times I had to skip count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that my missing number would be 6. And therefore 36 divided by 6 equals 6. So skip counting is another strategy that will help me solve these division equations more quickly. Again, thinking of the fact family and what the multiplication would be, and then using skip counting if I don't have that particular fact memorized. So take a moment to look this over, and then you can go ahead and get started on topic 4-1. Have a wonderful day. Bye.